President Donald Trump's controversial policies have been hitting the LGBTQ community very hard. In fact, on Thursday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio reportedly issued a directive ordering his staff to halt all passport applications with the X sex marker. Americans who don't identify as either male or female use this marker on federal documents for the past 3 years. However, with the Trump administration now only recognizing male and female genders, it seems like the existence of the gender-neutral sex marker has come to an end. Here's more from Foggy Bottom.
Hi, Donald John Trump.
U.S. President Donald Trump's return to the White House is nothing short of a nightmare for the transgender community. Day by day, his administration is rolling out measures to crack down on the rights of transgenders and snatch away their identity. On Thursday, Trump's Secretary of State Marco Rubio reportedly ordered his staff to halt all passport applications in the U.S. which have X written where they're supposed to mention their sex. The marker signals that the person does not identify as either male or female. Now, any applicant seeking to change their sex marker will not be entertained as well. But that's not all. Rubio also directed his staff to use sex instead of gender on federal documents, including passports, visas, global entry cards, and consular report of birth abroad documents. Rubio's order concluded that an individual's sex is not changeable, forcing trans people to use the marker they were assigned at birth. The directive changing millions of lives comes after the inauguration of the new president, where he said the U.S. government will officially recognize only 2 genders, that is, male and female.
This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders, male and female.
Trump also signed an executive order on the first day of his presidency narrowing down gender identity and imposing biological classification on people who do not want to be perceived like that anymore. Meanwhile, it is unclear that what will happen to the current passports which already have an X marker. But what's clear is that Trump's executive order is dismantling former President Joe Biden's efforts to be more inclusive of America's gender identification. The State Department began issuing the X marker on passports in 2022 after a long legal battle by Dana Zim, a non-binary and intersex U.S. Navy veteran, who sued the government over the gender-neutral marker issue back in 2015.
On Transgender Day of Visibility today, the United States affirms that transgender rights are human rights. We celebrate the achievements and resilience of transgender, non-binary, gender-conforming persons around the world. We recognize their bravery and their hard-fought work for equality, inclusion, and the full recognition of their human rights. We celebrate the diverse expressions of gender and full diversity of gender identities around the world. We also want to highlight, as the Secretary announced in a statement earlier today, the historic milestone the Department has reached in its work to better serve all U.S. citizens regardless of their gender identity. Starting on April 11th, U.S. citizens will be able to select an X as their gender marker on their U.S. passport application, and the option will become available for other forms of documentation next year.
Till now, Americans were not required to match their marker with their gender on citizenship documents, photo IDs, or medical documentation. However, with Trump coming to power again, Biden's fast-moving progressive gender policies have been put into reverse gear.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.